All right, today we're tackling some seriously thought-provoking stuff.
Ooh, I'm ready.
You wanted to explore how thought can change things.
Yeah, it's powerful.
Rewiring your brain, finding love, maybe even boosting your immune system.
Sounds like a tall order.
And you sent us the perfect source.
Let's hear it.
Dr. Joe Dispenza's interview on the Jay Shetty podcast.
That's a great one.
It's just full of fascinating ideas.
It really is. Dr. Dispenza is a leader in this field.
Right, connecting neuroscience
Quantum physics.
and personal growth.
It's all connected.
Okay, just to set things up for anyone who's not familiar with him,
Good idea.
this interview's on YouTube.
Right.
So we'll be exploring his ideas through that conversation.
Makes sense.
One thing that jumped out at me right away
Oh, yeah.
was how much he emphasizes stress.
As a roadblock.
Yeah, like a roadblock to love.
Interesting.
He talks about how most of us are living in this constant state of
Readiness.
readiness, always on high alert.
Oh, I can relate to that.
Right. It's like
Yeah.
always being on.
Definitely.
And I've noticed when I'm super stressed,
Yeah.
romance is the last thing on my mind.
Makes total sense.
Exactly.
And Dr. Dispenza argues that being in that state all the time,
That chronic stress state.
yeah, it makes it practically impossible to be open and vulnerable.
And that's what you need for a real connection.
Exactly. Like, we're so busy protecting ourselves.
That we can't let anyone in.
Right.
Which makes total sense. So if stress is the problem, how do we get to a more loving state?
Good question.
Dr. Dispenza seems to say it starts with understanding past trauma.
The baggage.
Yeah. And how it can keep us stuck.
Oh.
He says strong emotions can actually freeze frame experiences in our brain.
That's a powerful way to put it.
What do you make of that?
Well, I think what he means is that intense emotional experiences,
Especially negative ones.
right, they can leave a mark on us.
Like a scar.
Yeah, both mentally and physically.
Interesting.
Think about a time you experienced heartbreak or betrayal.
Oof, yeah.
Those events can really shape our beliefs about love
And relation to
without us even realizing it.
So it's not just in our heads. It's
Right.
like these experiences get embedded.
In our nervous system.
Wow, even in our cells.
Exactly. And that can create a sort of self-fulfilling prophecy.
Oh, how so?
Let's say you were cheated on.
Okay.
That might lead you to believe all men are untrustworthy.
Or that I'm not worthy of love.
Right? And then without even realizing
You
it,
start acting in ways that confirm that belief.
you might sabotage relationships.
Push people away before they can hurt you.
Exactly.
That hits close to home for a lot of people, I bet.
I'm sure.
But if these patterns are so ingrained,
Deep down,
how do we break free?
that's where the real work begins.
Okay.
Dr. Dispenza really stresses processing past emotional wounds.
Not ignoring them.
No, confronting them.
Working through the pain.
And releasing that emotional charge.
So dealing with that emotional baggage.
Yes.
Okay, that makes sense.
But then how do we actually shift our energy towards love?
Yeah, how do we go from guarded and closed off
To being open?
and receptive?
That's a great question, and that's where the heart-brain connection comes in.
Oh, yeah.
Dr. Dispenza highlights some really interesting research.
On that connection.
Yeah, he talks about how intentionally cultivating positive emotions
It's like love and gratitude.
can actually send calming signals to the brain.
So we can shift out of that fight or flight mode.
Exactly.
So you're saying feeling good can actually change our physiology,
That's what he's suggesting.
not just wishful thinking.
Right. He says the heart plays a bigger role
Than we thought.
in our well-being, both emotional and mental.
So by focusing on the heart,
Practicing gratitude, intentionally feeling love,
we can influence our brain chemistry.
and create a more harmonious internal state.
That's incredible.
It is.
But let's be real. It's not always easy to just turn off those negative thoughts and feelings.
Especially if they've been there a long time.
It's like they're on autopilot.
You're right. It takes conscious effort.
So how do we do that?
That brings us to the power of beliefs.
Okay.
Dr. Dispenza describes beliefs as thoughts we think over and over again
Like a broken record.
until they become hardwired in our brains.
And the problem is,
A lot of these beliefs are unconscious
they're running in the background.
and affecting our choices without us realizing it.
It's kind of scary.
It can be, but the good news is,
There's good news.
once we're aware of these beliefs,
We can change them.
yes, Dr. Dispenza asks us to think about a belief we might have that's holding us back.
Could be about anything.
Love, relationships, career.
So the first step is bringing those subconscious beliefs to the surface.
Exactly. Make them conscious.
Okay, so if we have these limiting beliefs running the show, how do we rewire them?
And create new ones that are more empowering. Well, he uses this analogy of installing new hardware in our brains.
New hardware,
Yeah, he says we can choose to focus on the thoughts and feelings we want to embody.
like choosing a new operating system.
Exactly, recognizing we have the power to choose our thoughts.
And therefore our emotions and behaviors.
That's the idea.
If it's all about choice, why is it so hard to break free from old patterns?
It's like trying to create a new path through a dense forest.
Oh, I see.
It takes time, effort, repetition,
To clear the way.
and make that new path the default,
So we're training our brains to think and feel differently.
like building a new muscle.
Interesting. What kind of training?
He recommends visualizing your future self,
Okay,
the person you want to become,
I like that.
and imagining how they would think, feel, and act.
In different situations.
It's like creating a blueprint for your ideal reality.
Powerful.
Can we take it even further?
Ow.
Tapping into the power of the collective.
Interesting.
Dr. Dispenza talks about group meditation
Okay.
and how it can create a ripple effect.
I'm listening.
He has some fascinating research on how group meditation can influence our well-being.
And even the energy around us.
He talks about measurable effects on things like gene expression. Wow.
The microbiome, even the Earth's electromagnetic field.
So it's not just about changing ourselves.
No.
It's about creating a collective shift.
In consciousness.
Okay, that's a lot to process.
It is, right.
We've covered stress-blocking love
Rewiring our brains.
and even collective consciousness.
Maybe we should pause here.
Yeah, let all of that sink in for a minute.
Take a moment to reflect.
What's resonating with you so far?
Anything standing out?
Yeah, what's really grabbing your attention?
Let me think.
Okay, I'm still letting all that sink in.
It's a lot to take in, but it's pretty exciting.
It really is, all those possibilities.
It opens up a whole new way of thinking
I keep coming back to this heart-brain connection.
and how it relates to love.
Yeah, we talked about how positive emotions can calm the brain,
Send those signals.
but I want to understand the science behind that.
How it actually works.
Exactly.
One thing Dr. Dispenza emphasizes
Okay.
is that our bodies are really objective.
What do you mean? They don't really distinguish between a real experience.
That's causing an emotion.
Right, and an emotion we create just through thought.
Hold on. So if I convince my body I'm feeling love,
Even if you're not in a relationship,
could that actually change things?
that's what he suggests.
Here,
He
look.
says our thoughts and feelings send signals to our genes,
Our gene,
which then produce proteins that affect our body.
like a chain reaction.
He calls it an internal pharmacy.
An internal pharmacy.
He says it's even more powerful than any drug.
Okay, now I'm really curious.
Me too.
So how do we tap into this pharmacy?
How do we make those love potions?
What emotions should we focus on?
He really highlights gratitude, appreciation, kindness.
Okay, those make sense.
And the amazing thing is, he tested this.
He did.
They measured immunoglobulin A,
And that's
a key antibody for our immune system.
right.
And people who focused on these positive emotions,
Yeah.
their levels increased like crazy.
So feeling good boosts our immunity.
That's what the research shows.
I knew there was a mind-body connection.
But this is amazing.
It is so cool.
He also mentions another study with experienced meditators,
Okay.
and their blood plasma actually stopped a virus,
That virus.
similar to COVID, from getting into cells.
No way.
It was like their bodies created a defense system.
Through meditation.
That's the idea.
That's wild. What are they doing differently?
What's the secret?
Yeah.
Dr. Dispenza says it's about going beyond just thinking positive thoughts.
It's more than that.
You have to really embody the feeling.
Feel it in your whole being.
Exactly. Shift your energy,
Create a new internal state
and that can ripple outwards.
into our experiences.
Right.
So it's about creating that feeling of love and gratitude,
Within ourselves.
not just hoping it'll happen.
Right. And that's where practices like meditation come in.
Okay.
Being present throughout the day
Paying attention to our thoughts.
and consciously shifting our energy.
But we notice negativity creeping in.
Catch it early.
Makes sense. But let's be honest.
Life isn't always sunshine and rainbows.
I can't just float around in bliss all the time.
There are bumps in the road.
What about those everyday frustrations?
The little annoyances.
How do we deal with those without getting stressed out?
Well, he acknowledges that reactions are inevitable,
We're human.
but he asks a crucial question.
What's that?
How long are you going to stay in that reactive state?
Oh, I see.
It's not about being perfect
It's about noticing when we're off track
and choosing to shift our energy back.
to a more loving, centered place.
Exactly. And like any skill,
It gets easier with practice.
The more we do
the
it,
stronger those neural pathways become.
supporting a more peaceful way of being.
So we're training our brains to be more adaptable,
We're resilient.
to face life's challenges.
Head on.
He believes those challenging moments
The ones that throw us off balance.
actually hold the most potential.
For transformation,
Interesting perspective.
it's about pushing through discomfort.
Realizing we're capable of more than we think.
Right.
But are there real-life examples of this?
Has he seen people change their lives?
Yeah, I'm curious.
Absolutely. He talks about people in his workshops
Uh-huh.
who have experienced incredible shifts,
Like what?
even with chronic health conditions.
Wow.
People going into remission,
From serious diseases.
Parkinson's, cancer,
That's amazing.
by participating in his programs
So they're rewriting their biology.
with the power of their mind.
But he doesn't just work with individuals, right?
No, he also explores group meditation.
Collective consciousness.
Exactly. He talks about emergent consciousness,
What's that?
where groups meditating together start showing similar patterns.
In what?
Their gene expression, their microbiome, even brain waves.
So they're syncing up.
On a biological level,
Like a flock of birds.
but with our internal systems.
That's incredible.
And he believes this collective coherence can create positive change.
Not just in us, but in the world.
He did a global meditation event.
Really?
And they saw changes in the Earth's electromagnetic field.
You're kidding.
It's like we can impact the planet's energy.
With our thoughts.
Powerful stuff.
Mind-blowing. It all comes back to that interconnectedness.
Our energy, our thoughts, they don't exist in isolation,
And they ripple outwards.
affecting everything around us.
It makes me think about all the negativity in the world.
All that division.
What if instead of feeding that
We focused on love and unity.
and possibility
Dr. Dispenza says we might have more power than we realize.
to create that shift,
He says the world needs us
to be the change?
to show up as the change we want to see.
So it's not just about ourselves,
It's about being beacons of light for others.
showing them a new way.
And he says this doesn't mean ignoring problems.
It's about approaching them from a place of love.
Compassion and courage.
This reminds me of that Dr. King quote.
Which one?
Darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that.
Powerful words.
Hate can't drive out hate. Only love can.
It's a beautiful reminder
That love is the antidote.
to fear, division, despair.
And Dr. Dispenza takes it even further.
He does?
He says stress, not hate, might be the opposite of love.
Wow, that's thought-provoking.
It really makes you think.
We often think hate is the opposite.
But maybe it's stress that closes us off,
Makes us less receptive.
less vulnerable.
And think about it, most of us are stressed.
All the time.
It's become normal.
A badge of honor.
But what if by addressing stress,
We could open ourselves up to more love.
more joy, more connection,
What if, like he says, the absence of stress is joy?
and that joy becomes the foundation for a better world?
Those are some big questions.
They are.
We've covered so much in this segment.
But there's still more to unpack.
In the next part, we'll dive into specific techniques
Practices we can use.
to manage stress, rewire beliefs.
And cultivate a more loving state of being.
So stay tuned for part 3 of our deep dive.
We'll be right back.
We're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive
Into Dr. Joe Dispenza's work
on rewiring those beliefs.
and manifesting love.
We've explored how stress can block us.
How past traumas can hold us back.
We've talked about the heart-brain connection.
And even the potential of collective consciousness.
It's been quite a journey.
A lot to absorb.
Now, I'm curious about the practical side.
The how-to.
Exactly. What steps can we take?
To put these ideas into action
One of the things Dr. Dispenza emphasizes,
is meditation.
but it's not just about sitting quietly.
It's more than that.
He focuses on a specific kind,
Combining focused attention.
with heart-centered intention,
It's about actively directing our energy.
towards a new reality,
He suggests visualizing the future you want,
feeling those emotions,
as if it's already happening.
embodying the qualities of that future you.
Powerful stuff.
I could see how that would be powerful.
Especially with that heart focus.
It's not just thinking about what we want.
It's feeling it in our bodies.
Exactly, and Dr. Dispenza believes
That
that
by practicing consistently,
we can rewire our brains
create those new pathways.
that support the reality we want. I have to admit, though,
Meditation can be tough.
my mind wanders.
It happens.
I get discouraged sometimes.
When you can't quiet those thoughts.
Yeah, Exactly.
He knows it takes effort.
And consistency.
He encourages people to be patient,
Don't see distractions as failures.
but as opportunities to strengthen focus.
That's a good way to look at it.
It's like any new skill.
It takes time to learn.
Perfect less over perfection.
He also suggests finding a community
Like-minded people.
to support you
Being part of a group can really amplify those effects.
and keep you motivated.
Like a team of cheerleaders,
But even with support,
life gets in the way.
it's hard to prioritize these practices.
With so many demands
Dr. Dispenza encourages mindfulness,
about our environment,
what we're consuming,
the information we take in.
because just like our thoughts and emotions can impact us.
So can those external stimuli
So if we're always surrounded by negativity,
from news or social media,
it's harder to cultivate that loving state.
it can really drag you down.
He recommends being more selective,
About what we let into our minds.
choosing sources that uplift us
It's like creating a filter.
to protect our energy.
Stay aligned with our intentions.
And he also emphasizes taking action,
Not just meditating and visualizing.
but actually doing things in the real world.
To create that reality we want.
So if we want to manifest love,
It's not enough to just sit and hope.
right, we have to put ourselves out there,
Meet new people.
be open to connection,
But he says approach it from a place of love.
not desperation.
Embody the qualities you want to attract.
Trust that the right person will come along.
At the right time.
Become the kind of person we want to be in a relationship.
Rather than trying to force it.
And remember, change is a process.
It takes time.
Dr. Dispenza reminds us to be patient.
Celebrate the progress.
Trust the journey.
It's so easy to want instant results.
But real transformation.
It takes dedication.
And sometimes those tough moments,
The ones that challenge us
they hold the most potential,
to grow.
pushing through the discomfort.
Realizing our own strength.
It's amazing what we're capable of.
More than we often believe.
Well said. I think that's a great place to end.
On that note of possibility,
The power to create the life we want.
it's within us.
Making conscious choices.
Cultivating love and gratitude.
Taking action.
Aligning with our intentions. Into rewiring beliefs and manifesting love.
With Dr. Joe Dispenza.
We hope you found this as fascinating as we did.
Until next time,
Keep exploring, keep growing.
and keep believing.
In the power of your own heart and mind.